Hey guys, welcome to another episode of the Get Coach podcast. My name is Kate, and if you're new, welcome. I encourage you to hit the notification button and the subscribe button so that you're alerted when we release new videos. And to all the returning subscribers, welcome back. All right, so on this episode, I want to talk about something that I'm extremely passionate about. If you're close to me, then you know that I'm an intermittent faster. I lead an intermittent fasting lifestyle, and my gosh, I really thank God that I discovered this, because for the majority of my adult life, I really struggled with my weight. We all know the story. You go through periods where you're barely eating anything, you're restricting calories like crazy. I remember times when I'd eat like an apple the whole day, a bowl of oats once a day at 3 o'clock the whole day, and then you lose a bunch of weight, like 10 kgs or whatever, and then gradually over the next couple of months, whatever, you gain it all back, and it's the yo-yo. So ever since I discovered intermittent fasting in 2019, I'd always heard about it. There are tons of YouTube videos. I think I learned about it in 2017, but it was after I discovered the intermittent fasting podcast during lockdown 2020. Then I read the books and I really understood why it's so beneficial to the body, not just for weight loss. There's a lot of health benefits that come with intermittent fasting. Some cancer patients, etc., some of their oncologists pair their treatment with intermittent fasting, etc. We're gonna go through all that, right? So yeah, this is gonna be a vlog type episode where I just want to take you guys through my day-to-day, what I eat, to show you that this is very simple and practical and that you can incorporate it into your day-to-day lifestyle. Weight loss is very simple. It's very simple. Is it easy? No, it's not easy. It requires discipline, but it's very simple. Like, forget everything you've learned about calories in, calories out. It's actually hormonal at the end of the day. So we're gonna have sections in this episode where I'm coaching you on the science behind intermittent fasting. I'll give you the podcast, the books, the authorities on intermittent fasting. Don't take my word for it. Good morning, GC fam. So in the mornings, this is literally all I need to get my day started. It's black coffee with absolutely nothing else in it. So yeah. So just 1 teaspoon and some water. That's it. And then when I feel like spoiling myself, I stop by a Seattle coffee after I've dropped my son off at school. And I can spoil myself with a nice brewed coffee. Always delicious. But yeah, this is how I start my morning. And then after I'm done with my coffee, I drink these. I normally buy the 1.5 liter 6-pack, and I just drink that all week. So yeah, after I'm done with my coffee, I drink sparkling water until my window is open. So I'm gonna be on these babies until 3 o'clock. Hey guys, so on today's clip or segment, we're gonna be talking about what is intermittent fasting and why it works, right? Intermittent fasting, you can also call it time restricted eating. You're not eating all day, you're eating within a restricted time period during the day. Just a little disclaimer, I am going to be looking down at my screen because I've got some notes, some medical terms that I don't want to butcher for you guys. I want to give you proper, accurate information. Right, so what is intermittent fasting? To make you understand this, let's start by discussing what happens when you eat, right? So remember in the first clip I mentioned how weight loss is mostly hormonal, and this is going to explain why. So when you eat, the hormone insulin is released, right? Insulin goes up. Now, insulin is a hormone that signals to the body to store fat. That's its job. whenever this little guy is in your system, you're not going to be losing any weight, right? When you eat, let's say carbs, they turn into glycogen, which are chains of glucose in the liver, right? Glycogen is basically just a stored form of sugar. And when you have too much of that in your liver, it produces lipids, right? Which is a process that is called de novo lipogenesis. This just basically means we're now converting those sugars, those fats, into glycogen or stored fat. So then when you don't eat, the opposite happens, right? Your body's insulin levels drops, and then you pull energy out of those glycogen stores in your liver, right? The stored sugars and the stored fats. Um, Dr. Jason Fung, who is one of the authorities on intermittent fasting, has been using intermittent fasting for years to reverse type 2 diabetes in his practice in Canada. We'll chat more about that later. Now, the first link I'm going to put in the description box is a lecture that he gave. It's only 18 minutes long. It just explains what, intermittent fasting is, why it works, etc. He's really great. He's funny. I really like him. So click on the link and watch that lecture, right? He always uses the refrigerator and freezer analogy. So you getting energy from the refrigerator is when you're getting your glycogen stores or when you eat. The body is so used to doing that. It's easy access. You just open the fridge, the body gets the energy and it's good. But the freezer, which is your stored fats, think of those chest freezers that we keep in the garage, in the basement, it's hard to get to and it's far away. The body is not used to doing that and it basically doesn't like doing that. It can just get easy access energy if you provide for it in that way, right? So insulin inhibits lipolysis, so the fat from coming out. That's its job. It's normal. So if you have a lot of insulin or insulin resistance, you can't get to that stored fat. Your body doesn't go to the basement to defrost a piece of meat to eat, right? And if you reduce calories, what the body does, it simply reduces the amount of energy you produce, so calories out. So think of it this way. Me as a human, as Kate, I probably need, let's say, 2,500 calories to go about my day, to wake up, to bath, to eat, go to work, come back, bath the baby, etc. 2,500. Now I'm like, okay, I want to lose weight, so I'm only gonna eat an apple a day, right? And I'm losing weight super quickly. It's been a week. I'm, slimming down like crazy. But my body's like, oh, there's no food coming in. I think our human is gonna starve. So let's conserve energy. Let's not use 2,500. Let's shut down our systems and be on a go slow, basically. So now I only require 1,000 calories to go about my day because the body is super smart. It's actually trying to protect me from dying, right? So then I give up on this crazy diet because it's unsustainable. It's crazy. Nobody can do that forever. Then what happens? I go back to eating normally because the body is going to fight that crazy diet that you're doing. You're going to go back to eating normally, 2,000 calories, but my body only requires 1,000 now to go about my day. So automatically you're eating more than your body requires. What happens? You gain all the weight back. That yo-yo again, right? So then what makes intermittent fasting different? Why does it work? So when you fast, you use up your glycogen stores over few days, a few weeks, right? So let's say you're doing a 17-5, right? 17 hours of fasting and 5 hours of eating. So during those 17 hours, let's say by hour 10, just a random example, you've used up the food that you ate for dinner last night. Now the body is going to look for energy elsewhere. It's going to go into those glycogen stores in your liver, the fridge. It's going to take sandwich, it's going to take whatever and eat. So let's say your glycogen stores are 100% on Monday. By Tuesday, maybe they'll be 80%, Wednesday 60, just a very random example, right? Until you finish the glycogen stores, right? So the next time you fast, the body is gonna be like, okay, I've used up that banana you ate. Where am I gonna get energy now? Because the glycogen stores are empty. Now you're gonna tap into the freezer. Now your body is going to the basement to get the food and defrost that piece of meat. Right now, you start tapping into your fat stores and you start to lose weight. Why doesn't your metabolism slow down with intermittent fasting? Because when you do eat, when it is your eating window within that 5 hours, you eat enough, right? You eat until you're satisfied and your body doesn't panic and think my human is starving. Let me slow down systems, because you're eating enough, right? And you're eating until you're satiated. Now, this is why I love intermittent fasting, because it allows me so much freedom. I am no longer afraid of carbs. I'm not afraid of fat. Like everybody that knows me knows I cook with a lot of butter. I love butter. It makes everything taste good and I use it everywhere, okay? And the reality is, when you eat a wholesome meal that's balanced and it's got fat, you're more satiated. You're not gonna be there wanting to munch, extra things. Now, it also doesn't mean that you are eating whatever you want. You're sitting there with a bag of Oreos or eating cake every day. Like it won't work, right? Calories don't matter, but they actually do too at the same time. So eat wholesome, healthy meals, not like processed food all the time, but at the same time it allows you that freedom to live freely and eat what you want and not be afraid of pap or rice or potatoes, right? You don't have to be super low carb or keto to lose weight with intermittent fasting. So that's it. Okay, so how do you fast, right? And remember, very key, fasting means not eating. I know I know it seems so obvious, but it's actually not, right? There's always these debates in the fasting communities about what fasting actually is. So when you're fasting, you're not eating anything. You can drink, but this is where the debates come in, right? You can drink, but keep it to only water, still or sparkling. Personally, I love sparkling. Coffee with no sugar, tea with no sugar, green tea with no sugar, no milk, right? Um, Other people will, for example, say I can have um, apple cider vinegar with warm water, but it is not clean fasting. But sometimes I'm like, I don't engage in those debates because I'm like, if it doesn't make you hungry, then maybe it doesn't break your fast. Now, there's a simple test that you can do to see if something breaks your fast, right? If you eat something and you get super hungry in like the next 15, 20, 30 minutes, you know it has broken your fast because insulin was released and you pulled out energy from your bloodstream and now you're crashing, right? That's how you know you broke your fast. So some people, for example, argue that I want to have hot water and lemon during my fast, but flavors, guys, flavors break your fast. Whenever your tongue tastes flavor, you release insulin. And guess what? Breaks your fast because that sucker is in your blood telling your body no more fat, using energy for fat. Let's stop lipolysis. So that's how you can test it. Don't chew gum. If you are maybe experiencing bad breath, because when you go into ketosis, some people complain that the ketones will produce, bad breath. Just swirl some mouthwash in your mouth, or just brush your teeth. Yes, it's sweet, it's got flavor, it might break your fast, but it's only for a few seconds. It shouldn't do too much harm, right? So make sure you keep it clean. Don't even have flavored like coffee or flavored teas. It will break your fast. Just keep it clean, just drink water, keep it simple. Allow your body to get into ketosis and use your stored fat for energy, because eating actually makes you hungry. I promise you, you're not gonna feel hungry. Right now, I'm recording this, it's almost 12 o'clock, and I promise you, I am not hungry. I haven't even thought about food. I'll start getting hungry at around 1, 2 p.m. because that's when I normally eat. Which brings me to my next point is fasting methods, right? When you're just starting out, they highly recommend that you do a 16-8, so 16 hours of fasting and 8 hours of eating. Don't start too don't start by fasting too long. Let your body get used to it, build your fasting muscle. Don't just dive into the deep end and do a 24, right? Maybe start off with the 16-8 or 18-6, and then decrease it by an hour maybe every week until you get to a 17-5. Personally, I don't, to maintain my weight, I do a 17-5, 18-6, longer eating windows to maintain my weight. If I want to lose weight, then I have to go to like a 24 or 21-3, which is what I'm going to do when I introduce the challenge. I think I'll do that. Some people do alternate day fasting. So this is where you go about 36 hours without eating, and then you eat for 12 hours. Very important is the refeeding day so that your body doesn't think you're starving. And we've talked about that. So alternate day fasting is basically you go to bed twice without eating. So let's say I have supper at 8 o'clock today, I go to bed, the next day I don't eat, I sleep again, and then I eat breakfast on Sunday. Yeah, so that's how alternate day fasting works. Other people really love that, and especially if you have insulin resistance. If you're insulin resistant, that really helps you to get through those glycogen stores and tap into your fat stores and to start losing weight. Some people use it as an aid to kick things off and then go back to a daily eating window. Right. There are various other forms, and that brings me to my next point, right? In order to be successful, you need to understand how something works. Personally, I'm like that. I need to understand why I'm doing something. So I recommend reading the books, watching Dr. Jason Fung's video clips. He's got a YouTube channel. Any question that you may have, he's probably answered it on his YouTube channel. He releases videos, I think, weekly. Check out his YouTube channel. I'm going to link it. Listen to the podcast. Stay plugged into the community. I have one friend who I've been talking about intermittent fasting to for years now. And for her, it clicked once she started listening to the podcast. These podcasts are people like you and me coming to talk about their journeys with intermittent fasting. People lose 50, 60, 100 pounds, 50 kgs, whatever, you name it, all ages. They come and speak about their stories, the health benefits. I mentioned how cancer patients pair this with their treatment, how people's eyesights improve. We'll talk about health benefits in the next clip. I'll go into that more. But it's very encouraging. Like, how, for example, if you are starting something new, you need to stay plugged into the community in order to grow, in order to stay motivated, right? This will help you to do that. I remember when I stopped drinking for the first time, stopped drinking alcohol. Before I'd go out to, meet the girls at a restaurant, whatever, I would listen to the podcast, stay plugged into the Naked Mind community podcast for another day for September. I'll talk about this naked mind. I had to make sure I stay plugged into that community during my baby steps until I get to a point where I can stand on my own. Now I just listen to the podcast because I enjoy them, not because I need them to stand, just like if you want to get closer to God, you read your Bible every day and you go to Bible studies, etc. So stay plugged into the fasting communities to keep you motivated. The struggles that you're going through, somebody else is experiencing the same thing. So I highly encourage you, listen to the podcast, read the books, etc. to stay plugged in. Right. Finally, who should not fast, right? If you are pregnant, obviously, breastfeeding, do not fast. If you previously had an eating disorder, highly recommend that you do not fast. And people that are underage, of course, shouldn't fast because your body is still growing. You you don't get any bad results from eating often when you're growing, like toddler babies, young kids, and you're super active when you're younger anyway. So eating all the time doesn't really affect you. So that's it for this segment. I don't want to keep it too long. I just want to introduce the challenge for August. We're going to do a challenge. We're going to fast together. One of my friends gave me this idea, and I think it's a brilliant one, especially if you've never done it before, or even if you did it and you stopped and you're starting over. Let's fast together during the month of August. I'm going to do it with you. I will do a before weight, 10 days later. I'll post again with my progress, and then 10 days later, and then again on the 30th or 31st of August. Let's do it together. Watch out for updates on our Instagram page. I'll post what I'm eating when I break my fast and that sort of thing, just to keep you encouraged. Tag us, use the hashtag, hashtag Get Coach Podcast, hashtag IF August, Intermittent Fasting August. And yeah, let's see if you will like it, if it'll work for you. And yeah, let's leave it there for this segment. Go day one, weigh in.